Oh, yeah, this is going to be kind of a crazy lesson. We're going to do two lessons at once because we're going to finish this whole series next week. And so we'll be on lesson 12 next week. But this week, we're going to do lesson 10 and lesson 11 at the same time. So let's get into it. We got a lot to cover. Okay, so first, let's get into lesson 10, which is the most valuable person. So basically, who's the most valuable person? I know we talked a little bit about this on lesson 9, and we said, hey, you should treat everybody as if they're the most important person in the world, right? But this is a little bit of a different spin, right? So the most valuable person is the leader. Leaders are the most valuable people. So if you're a leader, if you're on this right now, you're an MDC, you are either a leader or you're on track to become a leader. So you're the most valuable person. So congrats to you for being here, because leaders are the movers and shakers of the entire world. And there's never a shortage. And there's always a shortage of leaders, but there's never a shortage of demand for leaders. Companies are always looking for great leadership, regardless of the economy, the political winds of change, or anything else. There's always a high demand for leadership in every organization. So before you can be a really good leader, though, you have to be an intelligent follower. So not just like a blind follower, like just, oh, whatever they say is great. No, like an intelligent follower. You're the follower that's taking lots of notes, right? You're trying to copy what it is that leader that you're following is doing. You're trying to study them, right? But you're trying to study them and really analyze like what it is that they're doing. And so if you're on this today, become an intelligent follower so that you're taking the right notes, so that you can learn the characteristics, the attributes, and the skill set and the mindset that you need to really elevate your own success in your own life, but also the success of other people's lives as well. So effective leaders, what really separates leaders anyway, right, from everybody else? Well, leaders have a vision. That's the most important thing. So, we stood in front of the room yesterday. We had a whole fly-in here. We had felt like 100 people here in the room, which was not a very big room, but it seemed like the main theme was everybody wanted us to tell our vision more than anything else. Okay, yes, we have a comp plan. Yes, we've got products. Yes, we've got a great culture. Yes, we've got tech, but what's your vision, right? So effective leaders have a vision. They know exactly where they're going. They don't always know how to get there. Like, okay, and the plan may change, right? We had a big change in our plan in April of 2022 this year, didn't we? We had a big migration onto a whole new technology. We had software changes. We had all kinds of changes all at once. The plan might change, but the goal never changes. And leaders, they might not always have the answers, but they always are committed to the vision and finding out the answers that they need in the time that they need it. And that is why people follow them. So Larry Wilson says a leader is a person who has people following them because they want to follow, because they like what the person is doing. They like what they're saying. And most importantly, they like how they feel because of following that person. Okay, so like I said, organizations are always looking for great leaders. So you can't ever say there's lack of opportunity or the people at the top are already there, so why bother? I mean, that may be the case in corporate America, but honestly, there's never a shortage of opportunity because there's always a demand for great leadership. And so what are the things that really make a good leader? Well, let's talk about that. So a leader's got a great attitude. We talked about attitude in our last lesson. And they automatically look for the good in other people, right? They automatically look for the good in all situations. W. Clement Stone, he did a whole recording on, and he was he was actually at one point the richest person in the world in the way back in the day, right? But he did a whole recording and lesson on it is good. Every single thing that was happening didn't matter if it was good, bad, or ugly, or whatever. It was good. Everything is good. A leader always is looking for the good in every situation. It doesn't matter what you're going through, but if you have the ability, everybody has the ability, if you have the discipline to always look for the good in all situations and in all people, that's going to be making you a better leader. Okay? An effective leader understands who they are and leads themselves. So here's the key to leadership. If you are not effectively leading yourself, right? if you're running around and you're like, you know, people are like, how are you doing? You're like, well, you know, hanging in there. My grandmother used to always say that. I'm like, God, I don't even want to ask her how she's doing because I already know what she's going to say. She's going to say she's hanging in there, right? And that, why? Like, why are you not ever doing good, right? The people that are just like, well, you know, and they rattle off something circumstantial. I'd be doing a lot better if this person was in office, you know, like they have all these external excuses for why they themselves are not doing it. If you're not leading yourself, like if you haven't even figured that out yet, like about your own self, like how to present and show up as the best version of yourself, you're gonna have a very difficult time leading anybody else, because guess what? If you're a level 4 as a leader and you're trying to attract a level 10, 11, 20, a level 20 leader. We had some level 20 leaders in my Daily Choice office yesterday. And it was crazy because it was like everybody in the room was almost starstruck with everybody else in the room. It's the craziest thing. Like, you're a legend in the industry. You're the number one income this, you're the number one of this. Like, it was like so many number ones in the room. I felt small. Like, it was crazy. Like, honestly, an effective leader understands who they are. They know they've got creative power within them. They're not even competing. You know, Tiger Woods, greatest golf player, arguably. And, you know, when he goes out onto the golf course, he's not competing with anybody else. In fact, he's so far ahead of everybody else. There is no competition, right? So he goes out onto the golf course. He's creating. He's in a creative mindset. He's in a creative plane. In fact, he's changed his golf swing twice to become even better. And so an effective leader is not on the competitive plane by any means. They're on a creative plane. They're busy competing against themselves. And that's the only competition there ever really is. They know how to give themselves a command and follow it. That's it, right? So I saw a post the other day. I think it was one of Ted's posts, and he says, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. And now I agree and disagree with that. I agree with it because for sure you should be pursuing your passion in life, right? If you're not pursuing your passion, if it feels like work every single day, if it's like stressful to do it every day, you know, 85% of Americans are unhappy with their jobs. Like, yeah, if you're like in that boat, for sure you're doing something wrong, because like life is not supposed to be miserable. It's not something you're supposed to endure. It's supposed to be a creative opportunity for you to become more in tune with yourself. Really, it's to show up every day and pursue that passion. So I agree on that level, but I disagree on the fact that it's always fun. It's definitely not always fun. Okay, because if you are really going to be serious about network marketing and you're going to make this thing work, like you have to be able to give yourself a command and follow it regardless of your feelings, regardless if you feel passionate that day, regardless if you like, if people are being nice to you that day, regardless if you get rejected that day, right? So like whatever is going on around you is irrelevant, because you yourself have given yourself a command that you're going to do it no matter what. You're going to follow through no matter what. You're going to master the mundane no matter what. You're going to show up every day by discipline to make those calls, to reach out to the people that you're maybe afraid to reach out to. Reach out to the people that you already know they're going to say no, but you're going to do it anyway, because that's the practice of getting things done. And it builds a habit. It builds the muscle within you to make it feel normal, so that you're not afraid of the work. Like, listen, you guys, I grew up in a house of 2 different households growing up. One was very, very lazy, right? It was like I think I did chores maybe once or twice in my whole life in that household. My other household was damn near close to slave labor. Okay. Do you know what I'm saying? And my parents used to say, well, we got 4 kids. So, you know, what are we going to pay for no maids around here? We got children. And it was every single weekend. In fact, they made you feel bad if you were sitting on your butt. Like if anybody saw you sitting on a couch, you were definitely going to be in trouble very, very soon. So like, if you're sitting down, better get up, you better find something to do. There's dishes to be done. There's a house to be painted. There's a bathroom to be remodeled. There's there's something you can do. And so what that built within me is like, don't get comfortable, always grow and show up and build that muscle within you so that you're not afraid of work. Like growing up, like you're not afraid of work in your business. You don't just expect things without giving anything in return. So a leader has the ability to give yourself a command. I'm completing this, and this is how it's going to be done, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to follow it. In fact, Damon Coleman, when he showed up to our company, he had no reason to say any of the things that he said, but he walked in the door and he said, listen, I'm going to hit 100K my first month. Okay. My first 30 days. And within my first 2 months, I'm going to hit 250K. And he said, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to attract all 6 and 7 figure and 8 figure income earners to me. And he said, and by how I'm going to do that is I'm going to give them value. I'm going to show them what I see. I'm going to share with them the vision of the company, of my daily choice. And beyond that, I'm going to show up to the Zoom calls every day. I'm going to do up to 9-10 presentations a day if I have to. These are the things I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself a command and I'm going to follow it. And because of that, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. Now, at the time in our company, we had not had somebody hit 250K in 60 days. That hadn't happened yet. So for Josh and I to be witnessing, sitting back, seeing this leader come into our business and say, I'm going to do all these things, we're like, hell yeah, like finally, like, yes, like we're going to have new energy coming to the company, people that believe in where they're going, leaders that have vision, leaders that have their own self-vision. They're not just hanging on, to the company for dear life, every, like little thread, barely hanging on. No, these are the people that are propelling the company forward. That's where you want to be if you choose to be successful in this industry, right? So an effective leader knows who they are. Now I want to go through just a couple things here, and I'm going to just bring out my handy dandy Think and Grow Rich book for this, of course. But here's the major attributes of leadership, according to Napoleon Hill. Now, keep in mind, I'm sure you know this, but he interviewed over 500 people of the most successful people during the Great Depression. Not everybody was hurting in the Great Depression. There were some people that weren't even bothered by what was on the news and the radio. They weren't bothered by the vibe of the rest of the people and the masses who were being depressed about everything. They weren't bothered by any of that junk. They said, nah, I'm going to make something happen. Because every crisis, there's an equivalent opportunity, right? And so these people were really focused on the opportunity and how they're going to better themselves so that they could take part in the market share that created so many millionaires during that time. So the major attributes of leadership are this. 1, unwavering courage. Unwavering courage. So if you're like, I don't know, or like, I could do that, but that sounds scary. Nobody's going to follow a scared leader. Imagine if you're in the military. Imagine if you're in the army. Let's say I was in the army. Okay. And if I was on a battlefield and I knew there were hidden mines all over the place that could blow up at any minute, like, am I going to follow the leader that's timid and afraid to move forward? Heck no, because I know I'm going to get blown up following somebody like that. I want to go to follow the person that's like, listen, I did this before. I've been through this minefield. I know where the bombs are. I know how to get around them. I know the strategies that we need to get through this. And this is how we're going to do it. And getting everybody on board. All right, we're going to make a hard left here. Then we're going to turn around. We're going to do a little dance over here. We're going to hop over this mine. And then we're going to get to our destination. Unwavering courage. It doesn't matter what's going on. They have courage. It doesn't matter if their whole team fell out from underneath them. They have unwavering courage, right? Like, it doesn't matter what's going on. Hey, did you hear so-and-so just quit? Who cares? Let them. Energy's meant to move, right? That's okay. Not all energy is going to stay. We're only going to attract the right energy for us, right, at the time. So you got to be brave. How you be brave is you practice that. You do it. Then the more you do it, the more it becomes normal to you. It becomes your paradigm. Imagine if you're riding a bicycle, you fall off one time, you're like, I'm not doing that again. No, it's get up again, get up and try again and keep trying and keep going until you figure it out. And when you figure it out, you better tell somebody else how they can figure it out too. Number 2, self-control. People who cannot control themselves can never control others. Self-control sets the mighty example for one's followers, which is the more intelligent will emulate. I'm going to be real honest. I'm not going to lie with you guys right now. This was a hard one for me. Self-control, for real. Like my fingers be hot on Facebook sometimes. You go back to my memories, I'm constantly deleting them because I'm like embarrassed by my last self from 2, 3, 5, 8 years ago. In fact, if I go back far enough, I'm like, who is this? Like, can I unfollow them? It's myself. Can I unfollow myself? I would love to unfollow me from 2014. That shit's embarrassing. And if you're not embarrassed by your memories, you haven't made any growth, right? If you're not like thinking about that, like if you're posting the same negativity that you've been posting for the last 8 years, where's the growth? You should not be able to recognize yourself if you're really growing. Self-control, though. I had to learn that, and it's not always easy. Sometimes I type a whole message out and then I delete it before I send it. That's progress for me. I didn't send it. I didn't tell you how I really feel. I was going to, but I have self-control because you know what? Because I need to appeal to everybody, not just my particular niche, right? That was a hard one for me to figure it out. I was so gung-ho in one direction, but I became so polarizing. And people came to me, leaders came to me, and they said, listen, can you freaking chill? Like, please, Jenna, just chill. Like, because listen, we got people all over the world. Like, this isn't the Jenna show. This isn't the Robert Hollis show, right? This is not the Damon Coleman show. This is not the Stanisha show. We're all got to work together, and therefore we cannot be polarizing. We've got to have self-control. If you want to be a leader, you got to show up as a leader. Leaders don't make those mistakes, right? Unless they're in training, which I was for sure. And then you make that mistake, but you learn from it and you move forward. Number 3 is a keen sense of justice. All right. You want to be the good guy. You want to be the good guy that helps the good win. Because let me tell you, if you're a butthole, like, and you believe in craziness, like negative and bad should win, like, no, you got to have a keen sense of justice. You got to be fair to everybody. You can't play favorites. You can't have that fairness and justice within you, right? Because if you don't, because you're gonna build hate groups against you, and people are really not gonna want to follow you if they feel like your integrity is off. In fact, the number one thing people were looking for out of a company, and this is so crazy to me that it's even like this, but it is, the number one thing people are looking for, these top leaders, 7, 8-figure income earners are looking for in a company, is owners with integrity. Owners with integrity. Owners with a keen sense of justice. Owners that aren't going to sell the field out for money, right? Owners that aren't going to take away the field's paycheck. Owners that aren't going to rip the rug from under them. Owners that aren't going to just terminate people because they feel threatened by their bright, shining ways, right? Like, there's so many crazy owners out there of companies that are running their companies literally into the ground because of no integrity. You got to be a person of integrity. You got to know right from wrong, and you got to be about it, right? That's the number one thing. That's not even in our presentation. And that is literally the only reason why we decided to start our own company, is because we could not find owners with integrity out there. And so we were going to be that. We were going to be that for people because we felt that's what people needed. That's what we needed. Okay, so let me see what's next. Definiteness of decision. You can't be wishy-washy as a leader. You can have one. This is not the hokey pokey. You can't have one foot in and one foot out and dance around. It's not going to work. People will only follow you if you are so sure of what you're doing that you've made decisions and you follow through with it. The opposite of making decisions, okay, is procrastination. Putting it off. Not getting around to it. I'm going to do that when you're not making a decision. If you make a decision, that means act right now. It doesn't mean once you have all the pieces figured out. It doesn't mean once you have all the perfect plan figured out. It means once you make that decision, act and do it now, right? And so you got to be definite of your decisions that you make. People who waver in decisions show that they are not sure of themselves. Again, nobody's going to follow somebody that's unsure of themselves. Definiteness of plans. The successful leader must plan the work and work the plan. A leader who moves by guesswork without practical, definite plans is comparable to a ship without a rudder. Sooner or later, it will land on the rocks. You got to have a definite plan. So I will tell you guys, when we have a big problem, and let me tell you, entrepreneurs have lots of problems, and that's what makes us entrepreneurs, because the more problems that you're solving, the more value you're giving to other people. We run into problems all the time. Now, early on in my entrepreneurship, I thought these were red flags. Honestly, I was like, oh my God, this is wrong. Oh my goodness, this is wrong. Oh my shit, everything's wrong, right? But then I realized, like, oh no, that's the game. Like, you just welcome it, like accept it and welcome it. What's wrong is that's what the universe is trying to say. Work this out so you can get to the next level. Work this out so you can get to the next level. So we have always been in plan mode, right? So I had somebody ask us yesterday. It was so incredible, this question we got. Now, this gentleman, and I'm not going to say names, of course, because they don't want us to do that. But this person was the number one in every single company he's ever got near, right? Top rank, every single company. He's a very, very well-known person in our industry, actually. And he asked me this. He asked Josh and I this question. He said, You guys have been in business for 8 years. How come you're not at multi-billions yet? And I said, well, let me ask you a question. How long would it take you to build a house if it was just you and your husband, you and your wife, if it was just 2 people? Now, listen, some people can go build a mansion tomorrow because they can put a whole team together. They got funding, they got all the resources, they got all the investors, they got all the private capital money, they got all the strings attached, right? So of course they can go, most companies do that. Matter of fact, they take out a big loan, right? They go get the best staff they can find, they go get the best building they can find, and they can do all, put all these things together. They start with products with amazing labels and everything. However, what happens next? Then they go find leaders. Now they got to go sell it to people and say, look at our vision. We have proof of it right here. MDC didn't start that way. MDC started from nothing, right? We started in an apartment. We started with nothing. We started with no investors. We started with no backbone, right? We started with just ourselves and a vision, and we built it as we went along, and we scaled as we went along also. And not only that, we created industry technology that did not exist yet because we were tired of being stuck with what was available. We wanted to create something that wasn't available, and we wanted the ability to keep creating, right? And so we were in planning mode, right? We were planning, we were laying the tracks, we were building the foundation, we were building one brick at a time. We were making sure that the foundation was level, making sure it was strong, making sure it was built to scale. That's why. But that doesn't mean that we're done by any means. That just means we're getting started. It means our foundation, our infrastructure is built, and now we're ready to take off. So definiteness of plans. You got to have a plan. Most people here, the craziest thing that's ever happened is when we get CEOs that come into our building and onto our office, and they go, everything's going wrong in my company. I think I want to merge it into MDC, but I'm not, really sure what to do, if that's the right path or not. And we ask them, we say, what's your vision? What's your goal? Why did you become a company owner? Why'd you go into network marketing to become an owner? What was your vision for the company? What was your goal for the company? And they say, well, we didn't really have one, because the reason they started the company was for money. They had their run, they made their money, and now they're out of ideas. Like, that's not a good plan. Like, I could not follow a CEO like that. I couldn't follow a leader like that, right? And you would be surprised. You'd be shocked at how many of them say that. Okay, so here's the next one. The habit of doing more than paid for. Now, if you have a welfare mindset, right, you're just like, Lynn, I'm not bashing welfare. It has its time and place. Sometimes you need that. I was on government assistance at one point myself. But what I'm saying is, if you're always looking to get exactly what you're giving, right? If you're only going to give just a little bit, right? You're only going to do what's required of you. You're going to do the base job, and that's it. You're not going to go above that. Well, the problem with this mindset is, if you never do more, you're never going to get paid to do more. And you have to do it first. You can't expect to pay without doing the work first. It just doesn't work that way. It's a broken universal law. It can't happen. In fact, why do we promote people in our company? We promote people all the time. In fact, we move them from customer care into marketing. I mean, these people are so cross-talented, it's unbelievable, because we really want to raise our own leadership internally as well. We don't want to just a bunch of strangers coming and infiltrating our culture. Like, we want to raise people up. And guess who gets promoted in our company? The people that are doing more than they're paid for. It becomes so apparent that that person is too big for the role that they're in. They make it so obvious that we have no choice but to promote them. So if you want to get a promotion in My Daily Choice and you're acting like a 1K affiliate, nothing wrong with that. But if that's your mindset as a 1K affiliate and you're doing the work of a 1K affiliate, don't expect to be paid as a 25K affiliate until you start doing the work that a 25K affiliate would be doing. Does that make sense? A pleasing personality. No slovenly, careless person could become a successful leader, period. If you're the one that's got the bad vibe, like you come into a room and you're the rain cloud, like, you can't expect to be successful, because you can't be successful without people, right? You got to have a good personality, and personalities are not permanent fixtures of yourselves, by the way. People say all the time, like, I got to be me and I got to be true to me, but who is me? Like, you get to change that. You get to change your personality. if you want to. It takes work, it takes development, but you can. You can learn to have a pleasing personality if you don't have one now. The next one is sympathy and understanding. Successful leaders must be in sympathy with their followers. Moreover, they must understand them and their problems. So understanding is really the key to everything, right? Understanding is the opposite of fear. People say, no, faith is the opposite of fear. No, faith based on understanding, not faith based on blindness. Faith based on understanding. When you walk into a dark room and it's scary, you turn the light on, you can see, you understand there's nothing to be afraid of because you can see now, right? So you got to have understanding of the people. You got to understand where they are and help them get to where they need to be. Have sympathy, not necessarily that you are feeling so bad and poor for them, because that energy does not help them at all. But understanding, like, listen, I understand you're here now, but as your leader, I see you over here. So let's get you moving, right? Okay, so number 9, mastery of details. Successful leadership calls for a mastery of details of the leader's position. You got to be meticulous about everything that you do. You got to be methodological. Is that how you say it? All right. You got to be paying attention to detail. Attention to detail is something that's instilled in the military all the time. Like, I can tell you, like, I got in trouble one time in the military. I think I didn't clean up perfectly or something. My bed maybe didn't have the right exact 90-degree angle or whatever 45-degree angle it was. And a drill sergeant came in and he dumped sand from sandbags all over my bed, all over the floor, all over the place, everywhere, because we didn't have attention to detail. And this sets people apart when you are on the battlefield. If you're not paying attention to details, people are going to get hurt. You have to pay attention to details. And the same way in your organization and network marketing, if you're not paying attention to what's going on in your organization, then you're going to have blind spots everywhere, and blind spots are dangerous. Okay. Next one is willingness to assume full responsibility. Successful leaders must be willing to assume responsibility for the mistakes. So Henry Truman had a sign in his office at the White House, right? And he said, the buck stops here. That's where that came from. Well, guess what? Josh and I have grown accustomed to this. We didn't have this muscle built within us when we started, but it was, we cannot play the blame game if we're the owners. If you're the person, if you're the upline in your organization, stop blaming your team, right? It's not your team's fault they're not growing. It may be your leadership. That's the problem. The buck stops here. If your team's not winning, look at yourself. If your team is not winning, you got to look at yourself. You got to assume full responsibility, okay? Because if you want them to follow you, you got to let them know that I'm committed to your success. And because you're not succeeding, I take that personal. Now, it could be they're the wrong people for your business and you need to align with better people that have that vision within them. But really, this is so important. As a leader, you have to know that it's your job to take responsibility for the success or the failure of your team. And then lastly is cooperation, number 11. Successful leaders must understand and apply the principle of cooperative effort to be able to induce followers to do the same. Leadership calls for power and power calls for cooperation. You can't achieve anything worthwhile success without the cooperation of other people. You want to be an affiliate marketer, one tier, I only get sales. Guess what? You're still dealing with people. You still have to learn that at some point. You got to get people to work together. Right? That's the most important thing. So many times in network marketing, we see the gallant battle between corporate and the field. What we try to do differently here in My Daily Choice is build cooperation between both sides. There's only 2 departments in all companies, and that's sales and sales support. And we make sure our people know that, because we have to bridge the gap between us and them. There is no us and them. It is only us. It is only one team. And that cooperation is what changes the success and the destiny really of the company. All right, let's move on to lesson 11, and we're going to wrap this up. Okay. 10 o'clock in 30 minutes, we have Josh's webinar. So we're going to get through this. Okay. So I want to bring this one up. Lesson 11 is leaving everyone with impression of increase. As I like to call this is like the ancient attraction marketing manuscript. So Bob Proctor gave me this book personally. He personally wrote in this book right here. And he told me that if I read these 3 chapters, 4, 14, and 7, if I read them every single day for at least 30 days, my entire life would change and I would have everything that I ever wanted. And I said, wow, like what an amazing gift, you know? And so I already had this bookmarked, but the chapter we're going to go to today is going to be chapter 14, the impression of increase. Now, I'll be honest, I read this a few times. And I wanted to just skim through it because honestly, I didn't see the meaning in it. What book is this? This is The Science of Getting Rich. Now I have the original copy before the title was changed, and that's The Financial Success Through Creative Thought, Wallace D. Wattles. But it's now The Science of Getting Rich, okay? I read this chapter several times. I didn't understand it. And I thought it just meant to just be nice to people everywhere you go. Impression of increase, right? Just add value wherever you go. But that is the very, very simple meaning of the whole chapter. It's actually much deeper than that. And there's so much gold in this chapter alone that if you haven't paid attention the last 30 minutes, all right, turn on your brain now. This is the time to pay attention. Out of the entire lesson of thinking into results, this is the most important chapter. All right, you guys ready? Okay. The key thought of all your efforts must be to convey to their minds the impression of increase. So check it out. I'm going to break this down and then I'm going to add some quotes and I'm going to read a few things in here directly. What this means to me is you got to be an advancing person. You got to be an advancing man or woman. You got to be the person that's always going somewhere in life, right? You got to be the person that's always growing, that's always excited, that's always passionate about where they're heading in life. The impression of increase means that I'm always increasing me, and therefore the people around me are also increasing by following me. Okay, so let me just read a couple things here. And I want to read it straight in here. So before I get too deep into this, first of all, this is the natural law. This is a natural law of the universe, just as gravity is. Okay, nature is always seeking increase, right? Nature is always seeking increase. If all the cars on the street stopped, if all the landscapers quit, right, in the whole world, what would happen? You would see an overgrowth and abundance of trees growing everywhere, covering the streets. Nature is naturally geared towards increase, towards growth, right? And the moment that there is a stop in the increase, death happens at once, okay? And so as far as your business consists of dealing with people, your job, your key thought that you have to hold is literally that you want to convey to the other person the impression of increase. Now, when you think about giving an impression away to somebody, like when you first meet somebody, first impressions matter. You've heard that before, right? An impression is what energy you're sending out and what you're leaving behind when you go. That's the impression, your impression you're giving somebody. And people come to us all the time. They say, we just felt like you guys are just genuine people. I don't know how we conveyed that, but that's just what came out, right? And so your impression must be of increase as well. The desire for increase is inherent in all nature. It's a fundamental impulse of the universe. Okay, so let's talk about the Bible real quickly, just to draw some parallels here. Jesus in the parable of the talents. Only those who gain more retain any. From him who hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. What does that mean? So in Matthew, Jesus gave 5 talents to a guy, and he came back with 5 talents more. He made use of his talents. So what is it saying? It's saying you have God-given gifts within you. And if you're not using them to your fullest potential, if you're not expressing those gifts, if you're not expressing that passion within you, if you're not bringing that out, if you're not leaving people with the impression of increase, you're not bringing your talents to the world, then you're going to have your talents be stripped away from you. My mother is a great example of this. My mother was an amazing singer. In fact, at the moment she quit her band, they went on to become famous and they got record deals, whole 9 yards, became successful musicians. She quit just before that happened. And since that eminent failure she had in her life, she started to stop singing. She stopped singing. And now even at Christmas parties and things, I'm like, Mom, sing, you know? And she's like, oh no, I can't sing anymore. Why? Why is that? God gave her the ability to sing. God gave her the ability to share that with the world. And she shut it down. Her paradigm stopped it in its tracks. And because she didn't allow her voice to be heard, because she didn't let her gifts to come out, God took them away. Dang. Like, if you're not using your gifts, your ability, if you are not advancing that spirit within you, people don't want to follow you because you're not even inspiring. Like, you got to be inspiring because you're the weird one out of the bunch. You're the 1%er that's going for it, because the majority aren't. And so Jesus said, it's not sinful, right? It's not sinful to do less, because even if you just got a little bit, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. And so if you've been given something, appreciate it and seek more. In the following, and this book talks about this a lot. It's not about the things that you're doing. It's about doing things in a certain way, because we are creative centers, and from which increase is given off to all. Okay, let's get into it. So desire for more is not evil. We got to get that through our heads. It's nature. It's actually part of us. It's what we are expected to do. You know why you get frustrated when you're not following your goals? Because you could be doing more. You meant for a better life. Deep down all these things. But it's ourselves that hold us back. You got to be the advancing person that's going to be following that. So I want to read a couple things to you really quickly here. Convey the impression of advancement with everything you do, so that all people shall receive the impression that you are an advancing man or woman, and that you advance all who deal with you. This must be a belief. Wow. So basically, you want to give off the vibe that you're going places and life's exciting. You got to feel that you're getting rich. You got to feel that you're already rich. You got to feel that now. And that you, by becoming rich yourself, is because you are making other people rich, whether that's in value, whether that's in income, whether that's however you see that definition to fit and to mean. There's also a word of caution. Don't boast or brag, okay, of anything. This isn't a boastful game. Whenever you find a boastful person, you find deep down they are actually doubtful and afraid themselves. All right, now let me switch to this page really quick. I want to read this to you, because I thought this was so important and I don't want to mess it up. So I'm just going to read it. In fact, Napoleon Hill, all his teachings, he's just reading, and he's like, and because I don't want to even say it wrong, so I'm just going to read it. All right. Simply feel the faith and let it work out in every transaction. Let every act and tone and look express the quiet assurance that you are getting rich, that you are already rich. Words will not be necessary to communicate this feeling to others. Words will not be the way that you're going to tell people that you're an advancing person. It's not a word thing. It's not what you're just saying to other people. That's what it's saying. Then you're going to feel the sense of increase when in your presence, and will be attracted to you again and again. That's crazy. Take an honest pride in doing this and let everybody know it, and you will have no lack of customers. People will go where they are given increase, and the supreme, which desires increase in all and which knows all, will move towards you, men and women who have never heard of you. Your business will increase rapidly, and you will be surprised at the unexpected benefits that will come to you. You will be able from day to day to make larger combinations, secure greater advantages, and to go on into a more congenial vocation if you desire to. But in doing all this, you must never lose sight of your vision of what you want, or your faith and purpose to get what you want. So that is that. You got to be putting it out there. You got to be about it. You got to make your life about it. You got to be so ready to develop yourself and to develop other people and to add value to everybody that is in your circle. That is what I like to call attraction marketing, right? That's going to attract people to you. It's so funny. In one of the meetings yesterday, it was Josh, myself, and it was a whole team of people in the conference room. And Josh started going on, and he was talking about, he's like, and I really think that it's the tech, that's bringing people here now. And I said, knock it off. I said that, and I was like, your tech is amazing. It's not the tech that's bringing people together. Yes, it's a great sales tool. I said, man, it's attraction right now. It's the energy that's bringing people to us right now. It's because we're all getting on the same frequency right now. It's because we're all getting aligned right now. It's alignment. Yes, the tech is important, and it's going to catapult us into hyperspeed for sure. But if we still had this energy, right, without the tech, we would still find a way. It would just be in whatever other means it would be, right? You can't put a robot in the place of a human and call it success. That's not the goal of our tech. Our tech is to aid the high touch version of this business, right? And so people always ask me, how do you get more followers on Facebook? How do you get people to follow you? How you get people to follow you is by adding value into their lives. Now, imagine your Facebook page is a Starbucks. Okay, I'm going to just go to Starbucks mentally real quick right now. When you walk into a Starbucks, they don't say, you must order right now. Order from me right now. They haven't added any value to your life. You walk through the door, order from me. That's not what they say. Here's what they do. They don't talk to you at all, actually. They just let you walk in and do what you want. Really, you want to use the bathroom? They don't ask questions. They don't say, sorry, it's only for customers. They don't do that, right? You can bet if you're on a road trip and you stop in a Starbucks, they're going to let you use the restroom. Not everybody does. That's value. That's free value. What else do they let you do? They let you sit down. They let you charge your phone. They let you charge your laptop. They also let you use their Wi-Fi for free. They're giving you all kinds of value. Now, you're sitting there. You just use the restroom on a 3-hour road trip, right? Or 10-hour, whatever. You just use their Wi-Fi. In fact, there's a Tesla charging station behind the Starbucks. And now you're getting all kinds of value by being in this spot. You're going to feel like I need to buy a coffee or something. I need to buy something. You ever feel like that? So the people that buy from me, I try to give them so much value. They have to pay me in some way, because they know that they've gotten so much free value, and that's the goal. The problem with sales right now today, the problem with salespeople is this. They're afraid to ask to take money from people because they know they're not adding value. And because they know they're not adding value to somebody's life, they're afraid to take their money. So here's the deal. You're not going out just to sell collagen. You're not going out just to sell a product. You're selling yourself. Why should they order from you? We could find similar products probably on Amazon or anywhere else in the world, right? I mean, ours are pretty special, but you get what I'm saying. What's the difference? You're the difference. So if you're not adding value to that person's life in some way, they're not going to follow you, period. If your Facebook page is a Starbucks, you want to add so much content and so much value in there and so many like amazing tips and tricks and things, that people really need to know. You sharing stuff that people really need to know. And they're going to buy from you. They're going to come to you. They're going to be attracted to you. In fact, it's going to be the craziest thing. It's like somebody turned the switch on and you're going to have leads coming in from all over the place. Literally, when I got a brand new Facebook account in 2014, and I said, I want to have 5,000 friends in 30 days. And I did just that. In fact, I had more. I started a group. I had 20,000 people in the group in 30 days. I was adding immense value. I decided I was going to take all my insurance sales skills and I was going to bring them into network marketing. And I was going to teach everybody sales and recruiting and marketing. And if I knew I did that for free, they would automatically want to join my team. That's the strategy. You got to be a person of increase. You got to choose that you're going to become a leader. You got to form a clear mental picture, a vision of what you want and who you want to become. Before you can have what you want, you have to first be it. You got to first be the person if you want the results of the person that gets those results, right? And to get ahead, you must do more than what's necessary. You got to be too large for your place. That's how you get an automatic promotion in rank, in business, in income. That's how you jump salary. That's how you collapse time frames and go from 100 grand a year to 100 grand a month. These are the secrets. These are the tactics that you got to put in place. So I want to leave you guys with that message. I'll see you again here next week for our last and final lesson, which is lesson 12. And maybe we'll do another one after this if you guys want. But thank you guys for hopping on, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.